What if the greatest measure of a leader isn't how they perform under pressure, but how vulnerable they're willing to be? Sounds counterintuitive, right? After all, we've been told leaders must be tough, stoic, and in control. But Dr. Brené Brown, renowned researcher and storyteller, is here to flip that script on its head. Introduction. Welcome to another powerful summary by AudioBookCAPS, where we dive deep into the world's most transformative nonfiction books. Today, we're unpacking Dare to Lead by Brené Brown, an absolute game-changer in how we understand leadership, courage, and human connection. Brené Brown isn't just an author. She's a research professor at the University of Houston who's spent over 2 decades studying vulnerability, courage, shame, and empathy. Her TED Talk on vulnerability has over 60 million views for a reason. In Dare to Lead, Brown brings together years of research, stories, and insights to challenge the outdated ideas we have about leadership. This isn't about titles, corner offices, or power suits. It's about showing up, being seen, and leading with heart. So grab your coffee, sit back, and let's explore what it really means to lead with courage. 1. Vulnerability is the birthplace of courage. Let's start with the central truth of this book. Vulnerability is not weakness. In fact, Breen says it's our most accurate measure of courage. Think about it. Starting a new business, having a tough conversation with a team member, admitting you don't know something in a meeting, these aren't signs of weakness. They're acts of vulnerability, and they take guts. But here's the twist. Most of us have been conditioned to armor up. We avoid being seen. We dodge hard conversations. We hide behind perfectionism, cynicism, or silence. Why? Because we're afraid of being judged or shamed. True leadership, Breen argues, begins when we ditch the armor, when we dare to be vulnerable, not just with our teams, but with ourselves. Real-world example. A CEO opens a meeting by admitting a recent decision didn't go as planned. Instead of hiding the failure, she uses it to foster trust and learning. That's vulnerability in action. That's courage. 2. You can't get to courage without rumbling with vulnerability. Breen introduces the idea of rumbling with vulnerability, which basically means leaning into tough, awkward, and emotional conversations instead of running from them. In her workshops, she teaches leaders to rumble by engaging in real, honest dialogue. No passive-aggressive comments. No sugarcoating. No skimming the surface. It's messy. It's uncomfortable. But it's where trust is built and transformation happens. Rumbling means asking questions like, what's the story I'm telling myself? What's really going on here? How can we stay curious instead of defensive? These questions help teams build trust, accountability, and deeper connection. Real-world example. A manager notices tension in her team. Instead of ignoring it, she calls a meeting to explore what's happening beneath the surface. She says, I could be wrong, but I sense we're avoiding something important. Let's talk about it. That's a rumble. 3. Clear is kind. Unclear is unkind. This one, it's hard. Have you ever tried to avoid hurting someone's feelings by being vague? Maybe you gave them gentle feedback instead of being direct. Or worse, you just stayed quiet. Breen calls that unkind. Why? Because when we're not clear, we leave others confused, frustrated, or misinformed. And that's not compassion. It's cowardice dressed up as politeness. Leadership requires clarity. It means setting clear expectations, boundaries, and feedback, even when it's uncomfortable. Real-world example. Instead of saying, maybe you could improve a little on your presentations, a leader says, your slides are great, but you need to work on your delivery and time management. Let's set a plan together. That's clear. That's kind. 4. Armored leadership versus daring leadership. One of the most powerful frameworks in Dare to Lead is the comparison between 2 styles of leadership, armored and daring. Let's break down the difference between armored leadership and daring leadership, two drastically different approaches that Brené Brown outlines in the book. Armored leaders tend to drive perfectionism, obsessing over flawless results, while daring leaders focus on excellence, embracing mistakes as part of growth. Armored leaders avoid tough conversations, preferring to keep things comfortable, whereas daring leaders lean into real talk, even when it's uncomfortable. Instead of always trying to be right, daring leaders value curiosity and learning, while armored leaders often reward being right at all costs. When it comes to power, armored leaders use power over others, while daring leaders believe in sharing power with and to others, building collaboration over control. And finally, while armored leaders hide behind cynicism, daring leaders choose to practice hope and empathy, creating a space where people feel safe and supported. It's not about being perfect. It's about choosing courage over comfort again and again. 5. Living into our values. Every team has values on a poster or in their company handbook. But here's the question. Do they live by them? According to Breen, real values aren't what you say. They're what you practice, especially under pressure. In Dare to Lead, she introduces a powerful exercise. Choose just 2 core values. Not 10, not 20, just 2. These become your North Star, your anchor, your filter for hard decisions. Example, if one of your values is integrity, that means you tell the truth even when it's hard. If your value is inclusivity, that means you speak up when you see exclusion, even if it's risky. Leaders who live into their values build trust. Period. 6. Braving trust. Trust isn't built in grand gestures. It's built in small moments. Breen outlines the acronym BRAVING to break down what trust really looks like. Boundaries. You respect mine, and I respect yours. Reliability. You do what you say you'll do. Accountability. You own your mistakes and make amends. Vault. What I share with you stays with you. Integrity. You act with honesty and courage. Non-judgment. I can ask for help without feeling ashamed. Generosity. You assume the best about my intentions. Trust is the glue of any team. Without it, everything else falls apart. 7. Shame and empathy in leadership. This might be Breen's most famous topic, shame. Shame thrives in silence, secrecy, and judgment. And when it shows up at work, it kills creativity, connection, and performance. Leaders must learn to recognize shame triggers in themselves and others. And instead of shutting people down, they must meet them with empathy. Empathy is feeling with people. It's saying, I've been there, or that sounds really hard. It's not trying to fix or downplay someone's struggle. Teams that practice empathy create psychological safety. And that's when people start to thrive. 8. Courage is a skill set. Here's the good news. Courage can be taught, observed, and measured. It's not something you either have or you don't. In Dare to Lead, Breen outlines 4 teachable skill sets of courage. Rumbling with vulnerability, living into our values, braving trust, learning to rise. Each of these skills can be practiced. They're not personality traits. They're behaviors we can build. That's what makes this book so powerful. It's not just philosophy, it's a roadmap. 9. Learning to rise. When we fall, fail, or face setbacks, how do we get back up? Breen calls this learning to rise, the ability to own our stories of failure, learn from them, and rise stronger. Too many leaders avoid the pain of failure by blaming others or pretending it didn't happen. But real courage comes from facing the fall, processing what happened, and using it to grow. It's not about avoiding hard times. It's about becoming resilient through them. Conclusion. So what does it mean to dare to lead? It means showing up when you don't have all the answers. It means saying the hard thing when it's the right thing. It means choosing courage over comfort. Every single time. Brené Brown doesn't just want us to lead better. She wants us to live better. Because when we lead with vulnerability, empathy, and clarity, we create cultures where people are seen, heard, and empowered. And isn't that what leadership is all about? If this summary sparks something in you, if you're rethinking how you show up at work or in life, go read the full book. Dare to Lead is packed with insights, stories, and tools that we couldn't even begin to cover in one video. And if you found value in this breakdown, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to AudioBookCAPS, and share your favorite takeaway in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, dare to lead with heart.